Good evening. In today's session, let's discuss regarding fiscal policy and objectives of fiscal policy. So before going ahead with the objectives, let's try to understand what exactly is the fiscal policy. But while learning about the fiscal policy itself, we'll come to know regarding the objectives of the fiscal policy. So that is the beauty of the subject. Let's try to understand in a better manner. Fiscal policy, it consists of two words. Policy is a method by the government. Fiscal, something to do with the money. Hope you all remember, my dear friends, when we have discussed regarding monetary policy, we have also touched a point regarding fiscal policy. There I have mentioned very clearly, monetary policy will be taken care by Reserve Bank of India, whereas fiscal policy is taken care by the government of India through a process of expenditure and income. I told you already, whenever we discuss regarding economy, that is nothing but the money. So money has to be spent, money has to be earned. So if I earn the money, I will be spending. If I want to spend, I have to earn. This process has to continue. If I am keeping on continuously earning and accumulating lots of wealth with me, that will not promote the economic activity. As I told you in our class number 1, in order to keep the economy alive, in order to keep the economy vibrant, in order to keep the economy live, you have to spend money and you have to earn money. That is the reason why money has to move from one place to the other place. That is called economic activity, because through that we are purchasing something and we are selling something. Very, 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 very important one. So this is what exactly happens in the economy. So for example, if you look at the industrial people who are selling so many products, and the vegetable people, agriculture people who are spending so many the food items, so there should be somebody to purchase. If there is no one to purchase, what do they do with all these products? Right? So that is the reason why, so they should be production, they should be marketing, and they should be buyers. So when we are buying, they are selling and they are earning the money. Right? We are buying because we have the money, and through that money we are able to buy. So this process has to continue in the economy. That is the beauty of any economic system. So that is the reason why such economies are considered to be vibrant in nature. We cannot expect our economy to be static. It should be dynamic every time. That will happen only through buying and selling. Clear? So but when it comes to the government through fiscal policy, it will control the expenditure and income. What do you mean by this? We know that every year the government is presenting the budget in the parliament. What exactly you mean by the budget? Budget is nothing but an anticipated income and expenditure of the government for the forthcoming financial year. So every year the government will plan for expenditure and the government will also plan for the income. Is that okay? So that is nothing but the fiscal policy. So as the spending of the government is increasing, the income of the government should also increase. Otherwise, the government will be at loss. That is called a deficit budget. All these things we are going to discuss in this particular session. Clear? So kindly remember the first point, very important point. Fiscal policy is a policy that is decided by the government, not RBI. RBI decides the monetary policy. Through monetary policy, RBI will be controlling the flow of the money to the market from the markets. But when it comes to fiscal policy, government is spending, government is earning. How the government is earning? By taxing the people. That is the reason why when government wants to increase its revenue, government will simply raise the tax. Right? Obviously, right? So since it is a law, so we are forced to follow the law and we need to pay the tax. Right? So the increase the tax. So when the tax is increased and the people are paying, the revenue to the government is also increasing. Government is increasing its revenue because its expenditure is also increasing. Am I clear? Meaning fiscal policy has to do with the expenditure and revenue of the government for the purpose of economic growth of India. Because we are discussing Indian economy, because we are in India and we are interested only in our economy. Clear? Next, let's go ahead and discuss. If you look at the first point very closely, my dear friends, fiscal policy is the guiding force that helps the government decide how much money it should spend to support the economic activity. How much money the government is spending to support the economic activity, and how much revenue it must earn from the system, so that what will happen to keep the wheels of the economy running smoothly. If the government is continuously spending, no smooth functioning, right? If the government is continuously earning, there will not be smooth running. So there should be a balance in the fiscal policy, and that balance will be achieved by balancing the expenditure and income. Am I clear? And that is called fiscal policy. Am I clear? Very, very, very simple. And the example for the fiscal policy is the budget that is presented by the finance minister every year. Now, the government uses fiscal policy to adjust its spending and tax rates to monitor and influence the performance of the country. Performance of the country means performance of the economy. Our economy should grow. We have to become very strong economically. Then only we will be in a position to compete with the other countries in the world. That is the reason why, if you look at our 1991 situation and today's situation, India became very strong with respect to our economy, and all became possible because of the economic reforms that were introduced by the government in the year 1991. And I told you already, we did not stop the economic reforms there. We continued economic reforms. Even today also we are continuing the economic reforms. In future also that will be continued, only to keep our economy very, 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 very strong, and our economy will become a robust economy. Clear? So this is to begin with. So let's try to look at more points and understand more points now. We have come across with the question which we love more and more. Look at this. Consider the following statements. The fiscal policy is based on Keynesian economics. This word we heard during our first session of our Indian economy, right? Which is a theory by economist John Maynard Keynes. So all of you, my dear close friends, who are following me very closely from the class number 1, you must be very, very clear about what exactly is this. So the fiscal policy is based on this particular, the Keynesian economics. But what do you mean by Keynesian economics? As per this particular theory, government can play a major role in influencing productivity levels. Meaning, according to this theory, government can play a major role in influencing the productivity levels of an economy. How? By adjusting tax rates and public spending. Public spending means government spending. So by adjusting tax rates, by adjusting the spending mechanism, the government can play a major role. That is the theory of the Keynesian. So both the statements are correct, and obviously our answer should be option 3. Am I clear? Very, 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 very important. And if you get these type of questions in the examination, please try to be more alert. Just to focus, recollect what we have discussed in the class, then you will be in a position to answer these type of questions. Clear? So this is the answer. Option 3 is our answer. Next, another important point with respect to fiscal policy is that attaining rapid growth is one of the key goals of fiscal policy formulated by the government of India. Goal is nothing but objective. Our topic is fiscal policy and objectives. I told you already, while discussing about the fiscal policy, we will be coming to know regarding the objectives of the fiscal policy. So this is the one of the goals, one of the targets, one of the objectives, that is nothing but the rapid economic growth. So government has to do its best for the rapid economic growth, and that is one of the goals of the fiscal policy. Fiscal policy along with the monetary policy plays a crucial role in managing a country's economy. Based on this, I am going to show you a question on this. Please remember this very, very clearly. Very clearly. Right? So if you want to manage your country's economy, do you depend only on fiscal policy, or do you depend only on monetary policy, or do you depend on both monetary and fiscal policies, or you will invent new policies? Very important one. You need to depend on both monetary and fiscal policies. Very, 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 very important one. So these two will play a crucial role in managing country's economy. Clear? Now look at the question. We got a question again now. Consider the following statements. Attaining rapid growth is one of the key goals of fiscal policy formulated by the government of India. Is that okay? Agreed? Right? So statement A is correct. So it should not be my answer. Right? And this also should not be my answer. Over, the logic. Fiscal policy alone, please read carefully, and not with monetary policy, plays a crucial role in managing a country's economy. My dear close friends, I want you to be very clear and specific when you are reading this type of options here. Every option you should be very careful and cautious. Right? So here what they have given, fiscal policy alone is playing crucial role in managing a country's economy. This is not what we have discussed. In the earlier page, we have discussed that both the policies will play crucial role in managing country's economy. So obviously fiscal policy alone should not be my answer. So B is wrong. Right? So here both A and B is also wrong. Then obviously my answer should be option 1. Am I clear? Very, 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 very important one. You have to read the question carefully and look at the answer. That's it. In the note we have given, fiscal policy along with monetary policy plays a crucial role in managing country's economy. Very, 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 very important. Is that okay? And we are coming across with certain words here, like income. Government is getting income through various sources. One major source is taxing the people. Direct taxes, indirect taxes, so many taxes are there. Right? Next. So in fiscal policy, definitely you will come across with a concept called expenditure. So without spending, there is no development. I told you already. Clear? Next is the surplus budget. Deficit budget and balanced budget. What do you mean by this? All of you who have attended my, Indian polity class on budget, right? So you must be very clear about all these. But anyways, for those people who are attending for the first time and the newcomers, let me tell you this. Right? So when it comes to the government, you have both the concepts in budget. One is income, second one is the expenditure. Both must be there. Clear? That is the reason why when I say budget, It is the anticipated income and expenditure of the government for the forthcoming financial year. Anticipated income and expenditure, anticipated, right? Not the exact, because we are going to discuss regarding the forthcoming financial year. Clear? Say for example, you know, you are going to, from your village you are going to, like you are going to Hyderabad for coaching example, or for that matter you are going to Vizag, or you are going to Delhi, and you know that, say for example, 1 lakh rupees, right? So will it be really enough, right? You anticipate the expenditure will be around 1 lakh rupees, example I am telling you. So after going there, so you may be saving from this 1 lakh, or you may be spending more than 1 lakh. Am I clear? Right? Hope you are following this one. You have taken 1 lakh with you, and in this 1 lakh you have to adjust all your expenditure. Either you will be adjusting, right, this expenditure with 1 lakh, or you are saving some money, right, and your expenditure is less. But sometimes, because you want to purchase various number of books, then your expenditure may go beyond. But you got 1 lakh only. But how can you spend more than 1 lakh? Because parents, right? So nice parents are there, they are supporting us. So they will send the money, and that money you are spending again. So whatever the plan you have, beyond that you are spending, and beyond that spending you are getting from somewhere. Is that okay? In the similar manner, whenever the government is planning for the budget, the government will plan for expenditure as well as income. Is that okay? And if income is more than expenditure, income is more than expenditure means your expenditure is less, income is more, government is saving money. If government is saving money, that budget is called surplus budget. Hope you got it, my dear friends. Very, 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 very important. Next, most of the times what will happen, income is less than the expenditure. Income is less than the expenditure, right? So the government is spending more, but income is less, meaning government is at loss, and that is called a deficit budget. Very important one. They will ask you in the examination, what is a surplus budget, what is a deficit budget. Clear? Right? So now you know very clearly, if income is more, surplus budget. If income is less, that is called a deficit budget. Sometimes both are same, equal. Income is equal to expenditure, and hence it is called balanced budget. Very, 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 very important. And all the three types of budgets are very, very important. Budget is one. Depending on whether your income is more or your income is less, or income and expenditure is equal, then we can say either it is surplus, deficit, or balanced budget. Kindly remember this very, very, very clearly. Okay? So these are the points that you must know in understanding fiscal policy. We'll be learning more points now. Let's go ahead. Look at this. Next point. Through the fiscal policy, the government of a country controls the flow of tax revenue. Revenue means income, and public expenditure to navigate the economy. Meaning, we know this one. Through fiscal policy, the government is spending money, the government is earning money, and that is for the purpose of economy. If the government receives more revenue than it spends, it is running a surplus budget. If it spends more than the tax and non-tax receipts, it runs a deficit. Very, very, very important one. Tax receipts and non-tax receipts, what are they? Let's try to understand. Receipts means what you are receiving, that is nothing but the income. If the government is receiving money by imposing tax, by enhancing the tax, that is called tax receipts. So government is earning not just through the taxes. Government is also earning through some other sources, right? So for example, government might have given loans to some other countries. Government might have given loan to the states, and those states are paying interest. Other countries are paying interest. That is the revenue to the government. That is the non-tax receipts, right? And sometimes the government is getting the loans. Getting the loans is also the receipts. This is not through the taxation, but the government is receiving loan from IMF, World Bank, BRICS Bank, right? Asian Development Bank, like that. Clear for that matter, from the RBI itself. So, right? So when whatever the government is receiving, that is called non-tax receipts. Am I clear? Very, 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 very important one. Right? Kindly, please note down. To meet additional expenditure. So what is happening? So you have a deficit budget. Deficit budget means income is less, expenditure is more. So there is a gap. Then what do? Just now I gave you the example. You have taken 1 lakh and your expenditure is 1,10,000 rupees. Right? Give a call to dad and mom. Is that okay? So they will be sending the money. So from somewhere you have to get the money. Either you are asking your parents, or you are asking your this friends or relatives in that area, and you are taking the loan. Is that okay? So only to fill that particular deficit. In the similar manner, the government will try to meet the additional expenditure. Government cannot control the expenditure, because if you control the expenditure, the economic activity will be affected. Hence the government will look for the additional expenditure, and how you will be getting money for that expenditure. The government needs to borrow domestically or from overseas, right? So whenever there is a deficit budget, government is borrowing money domestically, meaning from RBI, right? Overseas, internationally, meaning from international banks or from some other countries. Clear? Note. Alternatively, the government may also choose to draw upon its foreign exchange reserves or print additional money. Is that okay? So the government will go for the printing the additional money, and that should be the last resort. Who will print the money? RBI will print the money. But the government will request RBI to print more money to this fill this deficit. That will not happen every time. In a very, very rare circumstances it will happen. Is that okay? That is the reason why RBI is expected to act autonomously. Look at this. We have a question. What are the statements that are correct here? To meet additional expenditure, the government needs to borrow domestically or from overseas. Agreed. The government may also choose to draw upon its foreign exchange reserves. Agreed. Just now we have seen. The government also choose to print the additional money. This is also agreed. So obviously our answer should be option 4. Am I clear? So that is the reason why, as you learn the subject, you will be in a position to answer more number of questions accurately. Right? Next. So when it comes to the fiscal policy, it helps in controlling the inflation. We will be discussing. Please remember, fiscal policy helps in controlling the inflation. Monetary policy also helps in controlling the inflation. How? We have discussed. Here how we will be discussing. Addressing upon unemployment, along with ensuring the health of the currency in the international market. You have to see that our currency value should be balanced one. Otherwise, there are so many fluctuations in today's international market. That is the reason why the rupee value will fluctuate. Is that okay? Fine. So for example, today, if I am not wrong, it is more than 84 rupees. $1 is equal to more than 84 rupees today. Fine. More than 84, right? And this, for example, if you look at in the month of February, so this is like above 83. So like this, there are fluctuations. So that it's not just matter of 1 rupee, even some paise, right? So one NP, Naya paise also, that will make huge difference. Clear? Next, for example, during economic downturn, government may decide to open up its coffers to spend more on building projects, welfare schemes, providing business incentives, etc. So what is the meaning here? So there is an economic downturn. Reasons you know why. But the government cannot, become a, this a mute spectator. So government has to act. During that time, the government will decide to spend more money on the infrastructure, so that it will be boosting the, economy. Similarly, the aim is to help make more of productive money available to the people, free up some cash with the people so that they can spend it elsewhere. So whenever there is an economic downturn, people will lose jobs. Unemployees will not get the jobs. Employed lost the jobs. So if it continues for a longer period, that is going to have a very, very, very severe consequence on economy. That is the reason why government must step in. Government has to release the money. It has to boost the economy, release the projects, spend the money and provide the employment. See that people will be receiving the money, and government should see that the purchasing power parity of the people, the purchasing capacity of the people must increase. Clear? At the same time, the government may also decide to tax business and people a little less, thereby earning lesser revenue itself. Is that okay? So obviously what will happen? The government will also plan to cut down the taxes. It is nothing but to encourage the business people and individuals to pay the taxes. Clear? So if the taxes are less, people will be more happy. So that will lead to more revenue to the government. Of course, its profit will come down. There is no doubt. Similarly, when it comes to the main objectives of the fiscal policy in India: number 1, economic growth; number 2, price stability; number 3, full employment; encouraging economic development, raising the standard of living. Next is the maintaining the equilibrium in balance of payments. You know the meaning of each and every word here. Is that okay? So these are all the main objectives of the fiscal policy in India. Clear? I don't have to explain each term, because you already know the meaning of each term very clearly and closely. Am I clear? Very, 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 very important one. Next, look at this. So we have a question here. Again, consider the following statements. 2 statements are given. Monetary policy majorly deals with the money, agreed; currency, agreed; and interest rates, agreed. So statement A is correct. So this alone is not my answer. This alone is not my answer. I am removing it. Through the fiscal policy, the government deals with the taxation and spending. Just now we have discussed. So obviously this statement is also correct, right? So we are able to answer the questions accurately. So answer should be option 3. Both A and B are the answers. So option 3 should be the answer. Let's check it. Yes. Is that clear? Right? So this is how, the fiscal policy will continue. And we have so many things to discuss under fiscal policy. That we'll be discussing in the next session. Thank you so much, and I will see you in the next session.